Hi, I'm Paul Seal from codeshare.co.uk. I'm on this video doing a live stream now just to show you how to turn the contact form that I did on one of my previous videos, how to turn it into an AJAX form to post that. Rather than having to do a post back on the page, it'll actually just submit the form and then give you a success or an error message depending on the result of submitting the form, and it will do it nicely rather than loading the page again. So if you haven't seen that video, have a look on my YouTube channel and have a look for the how to create a contact form in Umbraco C# MVC. If you look for that, you'll see how I got to this point of where I am with this code, and then when I put this on YouTube, I'll also create a post on my website codeshare.co.uk which gives you the code that I ended up with on this version of it. You can get the previous version of it on there, and then this will be part 2 for adding it to AJAX with AJAX. Anyway, I'll just get on with that. So the form that I did create, it doesn't look pretty, but it does work. So if we do Paul Seal testing at test.co.uk, this is a message. So this is what's going to be produced. This is what we're going to change, and I just want to get paper cut up so I can see the emails on my local machine. Right, yeah. So I didn't mean to click submit then, because I need to wait for papercut to be up and running first of all. Yeah, papercut's up and running, so I'll submit that, and then that's going to give me this in the bottom. You probably can't see that because of the video. So you can see that the email went through from the website address with the subject inquiry, and then this is a test message. So that is the result of submitting the form, and then it says your message was sent successfully. If we go back, if we load the page again, so test, and then we hit submit, what you'll notice, you see the form does the page does a post back. We're going to do that without that. So let's go to the code. So at the moment I've got two actions on here. One is render the form, one is submit the form, and I've got a method for sending the email. And then the returns that I've got here are redirect to current Umbraco page and current Umbraco page. So if we go back to this form and let's try and submit, what that does is that gets to this part here. It says if this model state is valid, then do this, process the success, the valid part. But if it's not valid, then return the Umbraco page. Turn current Umbraco page. So what I'm going to do, so instead of doing all that, that's where the postback happens, and that's where it stays on the page and gives you the list of messages. Also, what I didn't do in my previous video on the YouTube channel is I didn't put the display attributes, first name and last name, etc. I updated it for the source code, but on the video I didn't, so I just wanted to make a point of referencing that, so when you follow along with the video, just make sure you add these display attributes as well. So they should be showing up nicely now. They're not actually. I'll probably need to do a build. I think I updated the code after the video for the post, but didn't do a build, but it should all build anyway. So now that I'm going to do a build, you'll see when we refresh the page, you will see these labels here on the left. They will show as first space name, colon, etc. So it'll just look nicer, and then when you get your error message, you can see that in there. And if you want to, you can customize the error message as well. Let me just quickly show you about customizing the error message. So where it's required, I can just do an open bracket and close, and then inside there error message equals, and then the first name field is required. And that way it doesn't have the colon in there, and it can be a custom message. It can look better for it. So I'm just on a build. I'll just submit load the page again. I'm just going to check that I'm streaming. I had issues last time I was trying to stream. So it looks like it is working. Forgive me on this. Error message equals, and then yep, so stream's working, that's great. I've just not got anyone joined on the chat yet. I think the chat was a problem last time. So if you are watching and I don't know that you're watching, hello. I'll try and reload the chat. Let me just give that a whirl now. Yeah, if you are watching, just type hello. Oh, Tony Code. Hi Tony Code. Oh, put that back on. Right, so I'll carry on with this now. So we've got the first name and last name. So now if I do submit, you can see that my custom error message here now, that I just put in, the first name field is required. That's the custom message that I put. The others don't have a custom message, so they've got the colon because of that's what I put in the display property here. So that was just showing you a bit about the custom message. You can do the custom message again with other attributes like the email message. So that validation attribute, I can put one in here. So if I want to, I can do error message equals you must provide a valid email address. And then save and build that. Hi Janet, Jefferson Chiotti? Sorry, I'm not very good with pronouncing names. So if I submit now and the email address field is required, so if I enter that and then submit again, it's come up with my custom message, you must provide a valid email address, which is there. So that's just showing you about those validation messages. So we're going to do this as an AJAX form. Hi Tony. What I'm going to do first of all is on the output I want to just change it so that the validation message is underneath each field. So let's do @HTML dot validation message form. That's it. So first name. So I'm just going to copy that and then paste it for all the others. Sorry if I stick my tongue out while I'm programming. It's when I'm concentrating I forget that I'm being watched, so sorry if I do anything embarrassing. Right, so now I've moved the validation messages. I'm going to get rid of the validation summary as well. I'll just delete that whole block. Save that. Now if I refresh, I'll just load the page again. So if I do a submit now, those messages are coming up next to it. Oh. You can only see a black screen. Right, sorry about that. Let me just have a look. Oh, is it, so I've got display capture, I've got video capture. I've got the right scene. Let me refresh on the stream. Refresh. Oh, I'll just load the page again. Yeah, it looks like it's working for me. And that's me going to the live site, so I'm sorry about that, Tony. I don't know what it could be, because I am actually live streaming. Oh, that's good. Also, I'll be uploading it to YouTube afterwards anyway, so you can watch it there if you need to. Just search for me on YouTube, Paul Seal. Alright, so as you can see, the messages are showing up next to it now. So what we're going to do is, the aim of this is, as we're filling these in or filling them in incorrectly, it will notice that and it will update these error messages as we do it as well. So that was the first part, to change where the error messages are showing. Next, what I'm going to do is just have a look at the thing here. I think what I can do is wrap this in a div with it and give it an ID of form outer. So I'm wrapping the form in an ID so that when the form submits, it will replace the contents of itself. Missed out the @ sign there. Yeah, so the point of this is when it is going to be an AJAX form, and so with the AJAX form it replaces the content over inside a div, so you'll see it in a sec. So I've got that form outer. Let's just check that's not affected it on the front end. It shouldn't do. It should still look okay. I've got my div ID form outer. So that's fine. So that's the first step. And then the next step, I suppose, is to... No, I'm not using JSON actually. Can I call you Jefferson? So this is doing it server side. It is going to use, so it's a bit strange, but it's basically, it's an MVC AJAX call, and I'm going to do on click of the button, it will run the AJAX form, and it takes care of it all for me. I don't have to write the AJAX post it myself. All I do is just decorate it in, well, you're going to see it in a second. So instead of HTML begin Umbrico form, I'm going to comment that out. Actually, let me just do what I was going to do with the contact surface controller. So instead of redirect to current Umbrico page and return current Umbrico page, what I'm going to have is a success partial and a fail partial. So if I add a new view, I'll do success, form success. Create it as a partial view. And just for simplicity, it's just going to literally have an H2 success, and then number locks on, and then your form was your message was sent successfully. Save that, and then I'm going to have another one. I'll just duplicate these success actually, rename it form error, so make sure I'm on the form error. So I'll do error, and then I'll just say there was an error when trying to send you a message. Got my two partials there. So what I want to do is go back to the controller and then get it to, when it is successful, send the correct, show the correct partial view, and when it's a fail, show the other. So instead of returning redirect, I'm going to return the partial view. So here, if I do return partial view, can you hear me, by the way? Am I talking too quiet? I've got a tendency to talk quietly, so if you can't hear me, just let me know, or if you can also, that'd be good to let me know. So return partial view, and I'll just tell it where to find it. Again, this is another thing with Umbraco. I want to have my partials in separate folders, but Umbraco doesn't really work with the routing for that, so I've found that if I just put the path to it and then the exact name, then it works best for that. I know I could have it all in the views folders, but then it would be a bit messy. I like it in the partials folders. So I've got partial view folder, so that's going to look in the contact folder, and then I'm going to have form success here .cshtml, and then I'm going to return on the other one partial view folder form error. Right, so that's built okay, and then the other part to do on this is to add the tag at the top to basically get the HTML for a form that's using AJAX, basically. So this, let me just check. I got myself some notes because I didn't want to freeze. Right, okay, that's just a reminder there. So at using, and then AJAX begin form, that's it. So I don't think this is an Umbraco specific thing. I think you can do this with MVC anyway. So AJAX begin form, and then we need to tell it what controller we're going to use. So it's the same details as up here. So I can take those two, the action and the controller name. I can take those two. Then it also wants to know any HTML options. Any HTML. What's it called? Attributes. That was it. And then I want to do new AJAX options. And from that, I want to do curly braces. And then in here, I need to put in, so I need the HTTP method. That's going to be a post. Just do that in speech marks. I want insertion mode. That's going to be insertion mode dot replace. I do need a comma after these. So insertion mode replace, and then the update target ID equals, and I'll do form outer. So when the form is submitted, is going to replace the contents of div ID form outer with whatever the controller action gives it back. So that's okay. I think that is it. And then I can give it a form if I want, an ID if I want to, but I don't think I need to on this example. So the rest of the form is staying the same, and all I did was take this line out, and then in place of that line I put this line here, well, these few lines, to set up the AJAX form. So let's give it a whirl and see what happens. I'm sure there's going to be some errors. Oh no, the other thing that I do need to do is I need to install the, get it set up for actual AJAX posting. So if I go to my website, CodeShare, and then I need to look at client post, MVC client-side form validation. This is it. So I'm just going to take this. First thing I want to do is install some NuGet packages. So the first one is unobtrusive validation. So if I go to my solution I'll just go to Tools, NuGet Package Manager, Console, let it initialize, and when I see PM, then I know I can paste that in there. So I want to enter that. So this will get the latest version of that package and add it in for me, and that will get me basically a load of JavaScript files. And then the other one as well is unobtrusive AJAX, and I'll enter that, and that's installed successfully as well. So I'm set up to be able to do this. Let's have a look at the post again as well. Right, so I need to make sure that I've got these two set in my web config. Are you back, Jefferson? Oh, right, sorry if it's laggy. As I say, I will upload the video to YouTube after I am recording it as well myself. Right, so add key, client validation. So if I go to the web config and just make sure that it doesn't already exist in here about client validation. So it doesn't, so I can just paste these in here and save that. So if I close that out now. So I've got my web config settings. This is if you just want to do it for that template, but it's okay, I'm happy for my whole app to use it. And then the final thing is I want something on click of this button. I want it to override its normal behavior of submitting the post back, and I want it to, well, I'll show you, I'll just write a little bit of script. I'll put it here on the template, so on the contact template which calls the form. So if I do div, script, so this is the only bit of JavaScript I have to write. So if I want to, I'm going to use jQuery as well, just because it's quick and easy for me. The other thing I need to make sure is that I'm referencing the scripts. So this is saying that I need to make sure I reference them here. So if I go to my master template, because I will use it for the purpose of this demo, I'm going to use it on all of my screens. So where's the main template? Well, master. So what scripts does it already do? So it already uses jQuery. So what I'll do is I'll put this jQuery at the top actually. Now I would recommend using the sections, but I don't want to have to set that up for this. So I'm commenting out jQuery there. I'm going to put this at the top, just so that I know I've definitely got all of these files here. You can sort that out, how you manage those when you do this, that's up to you. This is just so that the demo works now. Is it still laggy for everyone? So just to show you, by installing those package manager packages, you'll see that it's added all of these extra files for me. So I'm just making sure that all my versions and everything is correct. So I'm linking to jQuery here, so that's fine. I'm linking to scripts, and then jQuery.validate.min.js, that's there. jQuery.validate unobtrusive.min.js and jQuery unobtrusive-ajax.js. So they're all there. So that should work okay. And then I can add that script that I was going to put on here. So I just want to write a bit of jQuery. Yeah, I do use bundles. I've got a post about that as well. So script bundles. How to use bundling to minify CSS and JavaScript. Yeah, so I do use that, but this is just on the default app. When you install Umbrico and you install this starter kit, then you get, this is just from that setup. So I'm just showing you from using that, I created a contact form, and now I'm just showing you how I can make it in AJAX. If you want to know how to do bundling and things like that, then just use this post that I created here, it tells you how you can get started setting it up with that, and you can do your sections and things like that. Anyway, getting back onto this. So if I do document on click, and then I'm going to put a class on that button. I'm just going to call it use AJAX. So when there's a class of use AJAX, oh sorry, I better do it this way. So document on click use AJAX, run this function. So that's this. So var form equals this. So that would be the button dot closest, and then I want form. And now that I've got the form, I just want to do, oh, before that I want to do e.prevent default, that's it. e.prevent default. So I need to pass that in. And then I need to do, the next bit is just submit the form. So I've probably missed something here. Hopefully I haven't, but if you spot anything, just feel free to type it in there, but I'm hoping that that's enough. So now that when I do submit the form, it should do it via the AJAX call. So just do a rebuild, make sure everything's in there. Load the page, Control F5. Oh, I don't want to resubmit, I just want to enter. It's just taking a few seconds longer because I did a rebuild. So in theory, I should have everything set up, and if not, I'll debug it and you'll be able to see what I'm doing to make it work. So if I just hit submit, straight away that did do that, but I think that would do that anyway, but let's just check. Right, so another way to test it is if I start typing this, you see the validation message disappeared straight away. So it's happy I'm satisfying that requirement. So that's the client-side validation kicking in. So that's from this post that I did. I'll just stick that in the notes if you want it. So that's good, so that's working. And then with the email address, it's not valid at the time that I'm typing it in like that, so I need to do a valid email address, and that will satisfy that one. And then I can do test message. And then if I hit submit, let's watch up here if that actually does a post back or not. It didn't do a post, oh, I looked down then. Let me go back. Oh, that was the temp data. Actually, it looks like it probably did work. So I'll just do it again properly this time. Pull seal, test that test. Yeah, because if you do see that message, then it has worked. So I'm just going to look at the top. I'm not going to look down. Let's see if I can catch it. Yeah, so it did it by AJAX. It submitted the form, and it showed the success message. Again, I'm sorry it doesn't look pretty. I'm a developer, not a designer. I don't really care for the look of these sort of things. I sort that out afterwards. I always just try and get it working. But that's an example for you of how you, if you wanted to do a form which submits via AJAX in MVC and Umbraco. So if you want to just have a look at the code again, you can. So from the code that I had on my previous post, the main things that I changed were I added a bit of script on the contact to override the normal click and to do the submit a form using JavaScript. On the contact partial view, I added a class to the button so it would be picked up in that script. I changed this part here to use this part here, which is the AJAX begin form, and if you want to have a look at what it actually produces, I'm going to take that temp data thing off as well now because I don't need to use that. So if I inspect the form now, it's got an action. It says data AJAX is true, the method is post, and the mode replace, and the ID to replace is form outer, which is this ID here. So that's great, and it automatically is giving it an ID of form 0. So that's the example of it working, and as I just said, I'm just going to remove the temp data part now from the Surface controller. So if I find that, oh yeah, so this was here, so temp data, contact success, true. I mean, this is just a really simple example. You can put your error handling around it. Maybe the email didn't send, so you might want to try and catch that and throw it back up, you know, throw the error again or handle it properly, however you want to. At the moment, this isn't causing an error, but you know, I'm sure there's sort of things that you can do, but I'm just showing you a video of how to actually change what I showed you before to use an AJAX. And then if we just go back to the contact template, and you see that all I did was I just did render action, render form, contact surface. So that is the action and that is the controller. So now I don't need this if temp data contact success is true. I can get rid of that. So all I have left, I just need to put the @ symbol and then the curly braces around it, just to show it that it's running that partial, because before it was inside the if statement, so it didn't need to have that. It already knew it was within the code area within the Razor. So that's as simple as it is now with the contact. I had someone on YouTube asking me, can I show them how to do this for something that appears in their sidebar? So if you go to my site and you look at the sidebar here, you could imagine that this contact form here is the same as the one that I've done for mine, and you could, in theory, you could just basically in your master template or your layout, wherever you're rendering wherever you sort out your sidebar, you could just call this partial, and that would put that contact surface in there, and you can fill it in and submit, and then the little message will show in place of where it is. So the request that I had was to show him how to do it for a currency converter. It's the same thing. You don't even have to have the div that you're replacing the contents of to be on the outside. You can have it lower down as like a results div. So you can just replace the contents of the results div. I'm pointing at the screen. You can't see me pointing at the screen, but I can see me pointing at the screen. Anyway, I think that's about it. I hope someone managed to stay on for that, but as I say, it will go onto YouTube next. And sorry it wasn't a long one, and it wasn't part of the online wish list that I was doing, but I just wanted to get it up on here. I promised it a week or two ago. At least I've got it. I'm not going to edit the video, I'm just going to put it straight onto YouTube, and then people can watch it if they want to, or not watch it if they don't. But if you do like it and you're watching it on YouTube, please hit like and subscribe to my channel, and you'll get more videos like this where you can learn a bit about it and skip through the bits that you already know. And if you do have any requests, I'm quite happy to take requests of things that you're struggling with, and I'll try and give you an example so that you can apply it to your problem. And if you wanted to, I could do a live coding as well. If you can be on, say, 1 o'clock, and sometimes in the evening I'm on, so 1 o'clock GMT, or in the evening at 10:30 GMT. Sometimes I go on for an hour or so. So if you are around then, or going to be around then, and you want me to do something to help you out, maybe we could do a live coding. If you join the channel, I can show you there and then. Anyway, I'm going to go now. It's nearly the end of my lunch. I'll see if I can upload this before my lunch ends. Alright, Take care, guys.